Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. This is the second video we're doing on the Iron X Wrench project. What I hope to do with this video is to just basically take you through what we're trying to accomplish, why we picked this property, and get into a little bit of the process of purchasing. The next video I'll go into some of the things we had to go through to actually get this closed. But for the purposes of today, I just want to orient you to the property, our motivation, and kind of the features that drew us to this piece of property. I apologize if my background's a mess. I'm going to try and blur it out, but we are in temporary housing due to a house flood while we're building the ADU at the first property. So this room is just cluttered, and I will try and filter it out. So this guy is the reason we're doing all this. His name is Zachary. This is my favorite all-time picture of him. This was taken when he was about 3.5 years old, and it was the first day he was able to put his own shirt on. Now, he put it on backwards, and I had him redo it 3 times. He put it on backwards every time, but he was so dang proud of himself, and he had just such a great smile that I had to take a picture, and it's still my favorite one of him. Zachary was born in 2006. We adopted him at birth after my wife had been through a surrogacy where we lost twins on our first anniversary due to a miscarriage. So we moved into adoption. We adopted Zach, and at about 18 months, we realized something was wrong. Actually, Zachary was diagnosed with something called Fragile X when he was 3. Fragile X syndrome is the leading genetic cause of autism and developmental delay. So Zach is autistic, but he also has basically, he moves, depending on whether you're talking intellectual or emotional or verbal, he moves between the ages of 5 and 7, with his speech being probably closer to 3. He likes to speak just with single word questions and commands, and he has to be prompted to put together decent sentences of 4 or 5 words. A big issue for us is we were older parents. I was 40 when we adopted Zachary. My wife was 38, and he's now 18. So he's definitely a lot bigger than he is in this picture. But we don't have family around, and so he doesn't have any siblings. We need to set him up for 40 years or more after we're gone. And so in our search for that was to find something that he likes, and he's liked animals. He used to really like horses, and he enjoyed shoveling horse poop and working in the stalls. So we thought, okay, let's set something up where he can live in that type of environment, and having it be safe. So our number one driver was putting something together for Zach. We knew that going along with that, we had to be in a state where there were good special needs services for adults, because he was going to be alone long after we are gone, and we needed to have a good support network. We can put the trust in place and manage that, but we need to have good support services. And so we were looking at that. Then my wife is cursed with the worst medical luck. She has had 5 back surgeries. She has fused 11 levels in her back. She also has fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, among a host of other things that are just debilitating. She's been on permanent disability for about 15 years. And that will continue. The point of that being is she needs a mild climate. We can't go too hot, we can't get too humid, we can't get freezing. So that really kind of limited our scope when you're looking at good adult services for special needs people and a mild climate and something affordable. Well, the places we were looking outside of California, I really dove into the YouTube hobby farmer or homestead videos. And one of our locations that we were really honing in on, I'm watching these videos, and these guys are talking, and there's flies on their face, and they're not swatting them because they're so used to it. Now, maybe I'm just too Californicated, but that's just not going to do it for me. So we kind of pulled our heads back and said, okay, well, let's look in California and in the area we are. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you where we found the property and give you a couple details on it. Okay, so this is the San Diego County, most of San Diego County. It's San Diego County itself is very vast, but here is the city of San Diego itself. If you come up here north along the 5, you get to Carlsbad. There's only a couple more cities north of Carlsbad before you get to Orange County. For those of you who are movie buffs, this is Miramar. That's where they filmed the first Top Gun, right here. And the property we're moving into is right up here. It's in Poway, but nearly to the Ramona border. It's 11 and a half acres, and really what it is here is it's this is the boundary, and the property comes a little bit below. This is a little dirt road that's on the property, so it actually comes through here. So if you recognize the name of Ramona, which is the town we're close to, that seems to be about where every San Diego County fire starts, and it moves west. So if we dive in a little bit more here, you will see that, let's come down here, this is all dirt. Basically there's pad here for a couple of, basically this was where a barn was, and that burned, and down here was some parking for tractors, etc. The house itself didn't burn in the fire. And one of the interesting things about this property is it's in a mitigation corridor. So if you look at all these properties around it, you've got all this native brush. These people can't touch this brush. It's designated as mitigation space. However, the person who owned this kept it mowed for the last 50 to 60 years. So it's grandfathered in because there were no native plants here. This corner right here is the only thing we can't do anything with. So that makes this a lot more valuable a piece of property than it otherwise would be, because we can play with the whole acreage. And it peaks here at the top. On a very clear day, you can see the ocean. If you stand on your tiptoes, maybe jump really high, you can kind of see it in the distance. Looking in here a little bit more here, one of the bad things about this property that we may not be able to do anything about, and we just resigned ourselves to live with, is right here and right here you can see a telephone pole. Power lines and telephone come in along here, cut across here to this property, and then they also shoot across here to the neighbors. Serves, as near as we can tell, about 5 people. Initial analysis, when we were looking to potentially move the property, move the lines, we wanted to move them around the property. That would make sense, right? Just move the poles over here. They were going to require us to bury them, and SDG&E, our gas company, gas and electric company, charges about $400 a linear foot for the trenching. So it was $1 million project, and we don't have that kind of money, so that's a no-go. My wife says she doesn't mind; she'll live with it. The power lines are really a detriment for resale, but we're not intending to ever sell this property. We're trying to build this as a legacy for Zach, and then when he passes away, then hopefully before we pass away, we'll figure out what happens with the property then. So what we are doing here is we are actually in this corner building an ADU. Now, because this house is here, California law requires a city to let us do an ADU, and so we're doing it here, and we'll do more. I'll do a video on just why we ended up there and why we ended up with the ADU we did. It's just juggling. Working with the government has been a lot of fun. So we want it here because we will rebuild this as our main home, and we want a little bit of privacy. The ADU will hopefully become a place where 3 to 4 disabled boys live with an assistant helping them with the daily chores, working the land. I would like to have a really big barn here, about a 4,000 square foot barn, which would then allow us to house the tractor, our motorhome, also be my man cave, which would include a poker room. I host a poker tournament once a month, and also I'm a competitive brewer and mead maker, so this would be my brewery area also, as well as a place to just have social gatherings, with the main house then being up here. So that's kind of what our plan is for it. Because of the fire situation out here, we are looking at everything we can do to make things very fire safe. The fires have always ripped through here pretty quickly, and if you've got 3, 4, 5 disabled boys that you need to rally and get out, we are looking into alternative ways to maybe shelter in place. It's not easy to get out of here road wise. There's not too many ways, and it backs up. So that's another of our concerns. But this property is gorgeous. Here's a couple other pictures of what we're working with. All right, so this is the original house that was on the property, that is on the property, along with the stellar telephone poles running through the middle of it. That Game of Thrones tower in the center ended up being an issue we had to deal with. I'll go into that in a later video. This back view just kind of shows you that this thing is kind of held together with some plywood, and it's just really not a consistent structure, and it's not waterproof either. This is a picture of part of the property just so you can get an idea of what it looks like and what the terrain is. Gentle sloping and mostly some grasses and eucalyptus. All right, well, I hope that gives you an idea of why we did this, where we're doing it, and what we hope to accomplish. And until next time, make it a great day.